You're the kind of person who wants to grasp the big picture, understand what's shaping our world, but you haven't got hours to wade through reports, right? That's where we come in. Today, we're diving deep into something that's becoming, well, increasingly integral to our lives: onboard connectivity. Think about staying online when you're traveling on a plane, a train, wherever.
Exactly. And to give us a clear, data-backed understanding of this landscape, we've got a recent market report. It gives us a snapshot of where things stand in 2025 and projects the trajectory all the way out to 2033. It's kind of like having a detailed map of the onboard connectivity universe.
Okay, so our mission today is to extract the key intelligence from this report for you. We want to illuminate the significant trends, the major growth areas, and the exciting possibilities in this field, all without overwhelming you with endless data points. Okay, let's unpack this. The report kicks off by telling us that in 2025, the global market for onboard connectivity is already a substantial USD 14.57 billion. And what's truly striking is the anticipated growth. By 2033, this market is projected to reach a staggering USD 37.12 billion.
Wow.
That's more than double in just 8 years.
Absolutely. And to really highlight the speed of this expansion, the report gives us a compound annual growth rate that's the average yearly growth of 12.40% between 2025 and 2033. That really emphasizes how rapidly this market is, well, taking off. So, what are the key engines driving this impressive growth?
Well, the report points to a few primary factors. First, there's the ever-increasing expectation for seamless internet access wherever we are, especially, when we're traveling.
Uh-huh.
Think about needing to send that last-minute email or wanting to stream a show on a long flight.
Uh-huh.
Second, the growing popularity of smart devices and advanced in-flight entertainment systems is a big contributor. People simply expect to be able to use their devices and enjoy digital content on the go.
That totally resonates. And the third major driver mentioned is the expanding deployment of high-speed satellite communication technologies. It sounds like getting reliable internet on the move, particularly over long distances, is becoming increasingly viable.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's clear that these converging trends are creating some powerful momentum for the onboard connectivity market.
Now, while this is a global market, it's not the same picture everywhere, is it? The report breaks down the data by region. Let's start by looking at North America.
Right. North America currently holds the largest slice of the global market, accounting for over 40% of the total revenue. In 2025, their market size is estimated at USD 5.39 billion.
That's a significant lead.
No.
And what's their projected growth looking like heading towards 2033?
The CAGR for North America is a still robust 10.8% from 2025 to 2033. So while maybe not the fastest growth globally, it's still a substantial expansion.
Okay, so steady and significant growth. And the report even drills down to the individual country level within North America, doesn't it?
It does. The United States is this dominant force in the region with a 2025 market size of USD 4.25 billion, followed by Canada at USD 0.65 billion and Mexico at USD 0.49 billion.
So the U.S. is clearly the major player in North American onboard connectivity. What are the underlying reasons for this strong position?
Well, the report highlights significant investments in infrastructure, particularly in satellite communication and the rollout of 5G networks. It's worth noting that 5G offers, significantly faster speeds and lower latency compared to previous generations, making applications like real-time video conferencing on the go more feasible.
Right.
Additionally, North American consumers just have high expectations for digital services and seamless connectivity, which naturally fuels demand.
That makes perfect sense. Now let's shift our focus over to Europe, which the report indicates holds the second largest share of the global market.
That's correct. Europe accounts for over 30% of the global onboard connectivity revenue, with a market size of USD 4.23 billion in 2025.
And what's their projected growth rate looking like?
Europe is anticipating a CAGR of 11.4% from 2025 to 2033. So again, a healthy rate of expansion there.
And what are some of the key countries contributing to this in Europe? Any standouts?
Yeah. The UK has a 2025 market size of USD 0.71 billion. Germany is at USD 0.84 billion. France at USD 0.39 billion. And Russia actually comes in at USD 0.65 billion. The report includes figures for other European nations too, showing it's a pretty diverse and active market overall.
Interesting. What are the main factors driving the onboard connectivity market in Europe then?
Several elements are at play. The expansion of high-speed rail networks across Europe is a significant one. Passengers on these trains increasingly expect reliable internet for, well, work and leisure.
Sure, makes sense.
Also, the adoption of advanced technologies and an increase in luxury tourism, where premium connectivity is often a key expectation, are also contributing.
Okay, next up is the Asia-Pacific region, or APAC. The report suggests some really interesting and rapid growth happening here.
Absolutely. APAC currently holds around 23% of the global market share, with a market size of USD 3.50 billion in 2025. But here's where it gets really interesting. The CAGR for APAC is the highest among all regions, at a really robust 15.3% from 2025 to 2033.
Wow, 15.3%. That suggests a really dynamic period of growth for onboard connectivity in that part of the world. Who are the key countries leading this charge?
China is definitely the front runner in APAC with a 2025 market size of USD 1.47 billion. Japan follows at USD 0.48 billion, then India at USD 0.35 billion, South Korea at USD 0.42 billion, Australia at USD 0.18 billion, and Singapore at USD 0.07 billion. It's a really diverse mix of rapidly evolving markets.
So, what's fueling this impressive growth in the Asia-Pacific region? What's different there?
Several factors are converging. There's significant development of rail infrastructure, particularly high-speed rail, across many APAC countries. Strong economic growth is also a major driver, leading to increased air travel and greater consumer spending on things like, well, connectivity. Additionally, smartphone usage is very high in many APAC markets, creating just a strong built-in demand for mobile internet access on the go.
And the report even mentions freight transport in India as providing some context for overall transport growth, right? How does that fit?
Yes, it does. While it's not directly about onboard passenger connectivity, the increase in freight transport and its associated revenue growth kind of indicate an overall expansion in transport infrastructure and a growing reliance on connected systems for logistics and efficiency. It sort of mirrors the trends we're seeing in passenger transport.
Got it. Moving on, the report also covers South America, although with a smaller share of the global market compared to the regions we've discussed so far.
Right. South America accounts for more than 5% of the global market, with the size of USD 0.55 billion in 2025. The projected CAGR, though, is a strong 13.1% from 2025 to 2033, so still growing fast.
And what are the key countries within South America highlighted?
Brazil has a 2025 market size of USD 0.24 billion, followed by Argentina at USD 0.09 billion. The remaining South American countries collectively make up the rest of that market share.
What are the primary drivers for onboard connectivity growth in South America? Similar trends.
Pretty much. The report points to the increasing expansion of both air and rail travel, a rise in business travel, and importantly, improvements in digital infrastructure across the region. As these areas develop, the need and demand for onboard connectivity naturally increase.
Okay, next up, we have the Middle East.
The Middle East currently holds around 2% of the global market share, with a market size of USD 0.58 billion in 2025. The projected CAGR is also quite healthy, 13.7% from 2025 to 2033.
And who are the key players in the Middle East in this market?
Saudi Arabia leads with a 2025 market size of USD 0.21 billion, followed by the UAE at USD 0.12 billion, Turkey at USD 0.05 billion, and Qatar also at USD 0.05 billion.
What's fueling this growth in the Middle Eastern region? Is it the big airlines?
That's a huge part of it, yeah. A significant factor is the Middle East's growing role as a global aviation hub. Airlines in the region are expanding their fleets and international routes, and passengers on these flights, increasingly expect and rely on connectivity for both work and leisure.
Makes sense. Finally, let's turn our attention to Africa, which currently represents the smallest portion of the global market for onboard connectivity.
Right, Africa accounts for around 1% of the global market, with a size of USD 0.32 billion in 2025. However, they're projecting CAGR as a solid 12.7% from 2025 to 2033, indicating significant potential for future growth.
And which countries are leading the way in Africa, according to the report?
South Africa has a 2025 market size of USD 0.11 billion, followed by Nigeria at USD 0.03 billion, with the remainder of the African market distributed across other countries.
What are the key factors driving growth in onboard connectivity in Africa? Is it mobile adoption?
That's a big part of it. The increasing penetration of mobile devices and the growing adoption of smartphones across the continent are major drivers. Additionally, the expansion of regional air travel and the modernization of airline fleets are leading to greater investment in onboard connectivity services.
Okay, so it's clear that while North America and Europe currently have the largest market share, Asia Pacific and other emerging regions like South America, the Middle East, and Africa are really poised for substantial growth in the coming years. Now, the report also provides a breakdown of the market in other ways, such as by the types of components involved, right?
Yes, that's right. When we look at the components, the report indicates that solutions are expected to dominate the market. This makes sense when you consider their widespread application across various transportation modes and the general expectation for seamless connectivity. These solutions include things like the actual Wi-Fi systems, the hardware for satellite communication, and in-flight entertainment equipment.
And what about the services aspect of the market, the subscriptions and content?
Right. Services are identified as the fastest growing segment. This is largely fueled by the rising demand for in-flight entertainment, like live streaming and on-demand content. Enhancing the passenger experience through these services is becoming increasingly important for transportation providers.
Yeah, that definitely aligns with the broader trends we're seeing in the entertainment industry, the whole shift towards digital streaming platforms. The report also analyzes the market from a technology standpoint, doesn't it? Satellite versus ground-based.
Absolutely. In terms of the underlying technology, satellite communication currently holds the largest market share. This is, well, crucial for providing connectivity on a global scale, especially in areas where ground-based infrastructure is limited or non-existent. Think over large bodies of water for long-haul flights.
That makes sense for those really remote areas or long stretches. What about other key technologies in this space?
The ground-to-air segment is experiencing rapid growth. This technology, particularly air-to-ground or ATG networks, can offer lower latency and higher speed connectivity compared to satellite, but only in regions with well-developed ground network infrastructure. Lower latency, meaning less delay in data transmission, is particularly beneficial for applications that need fast responses, like maybe gaming or video calls.
So different technologies offer different advantages depending on the specific environment and what you need it for. Now let's talk about how this connectivity is actually being used. How does the report segment the market by application? Like what are people doing online?
Well, the entertainment segment currently holds the largest market share in terms of application. This ties back to our earlier discussion about the increasing expectation for passengers to have access to their preferred entertainment options, streaming movies, music, whatever, while traveling.
Okay, so entertainment is king right now. But which application area is seeing the most rapid growth?
That would be communication. Advancements in satellite technology, the rollout of faster 5G networks, and the adoption of improved Wi-Fi standards like Wi-Fi 6 are enabling more reliable high-speed connections for things like making calls, sending texts, and accessing emails, even in traditionally challenging environments like airplanes.
So it's evolving beyond just entertainment. People increasingly need to stay truly connected for work and personal communication while on the move. That makes sense. The final way the report segments the market is by the end users, like the specific transportation sectors. What insights does that provide?
Yeah, interestingly, the railway segment currently holds the largest market share when we look at end users. This is primarily due to the increasing adoption of what's known as IoT, or the Internet of Things. The growing use of interconnected devices and sensors for monitoring train performance, ensuring safety, and improving overall operational efficiency.
That's fascinating. I wouldn't have immediately guessed that railways would be the largest end user, so it's not just about passenger Wi-Fi on trains, it's much broader.
Exactly. It encompasses a much broader integration of connectivity for the actual operation of the trains. However, the aviation segment is identified as the end user area with the most rapid growth. As air travel continues to increase globally, both leisure and business travelers are demanding seamless, high-speed internet access for a variety of needs.
So while railways currently lead in terms of overall market share, perhaps due to those operational uses, the demand and adoption in aviation are increasing at the fastest rate for passenger use. Okay. Now, looking beyond the specific numbers and market segments, the report also touches on the key market dynamics, the underlying forces that are driving and shaping this entire industry.
Yes, it does. On the side of market drivers, we've already touched on the increasing demand for high-speed internet and seamless connectivity, as well as the growth in air passenger traffic and tourism. Another significant driver mentioned is the rising adoption of IoT and smart transport systems across all modes of travel, enabling more efficient and data-driven operations.
And what about the challenges or restraints that might, slow this growth down a bit?
The report highlights a couple of key restraints. One is the significant upfront costs for installing and the ongoing expenses for maintaining these onboard connectivity systems. It's not cheap.
Right.
The other is the persistent issue of bandwidth limitations, which can sometimes result in slower internet speeds and a less than ideal user experience, even with the newer tech.
Definitely a relatable frustration for anyone who's tried to use in-flight Wi-Fi. What are some of the major trends that are expected to shape the future of onboard connectivity? What's next?
Two key trends really stand out. The first is the continued expansion of 5G and other next-generation mobile networks, which promise significantly faster data speeds and lower latency, especially for those ground-to-air systems. The second is the ongoing advancements in satellite communication, particularly the development and deployment of low Earth orbit,
Yeah.
LEO, geostationary orbit, GEO, and medium Earth orbit, MEO, satellite constellations.
LEO, GEO, MEO. Can you briefly explain the difference?
Sure. AVO satellites, for example, orbit much closer to Earth than traditional GEO satellites. This means the signal travels a shorter distance, which can lead to reduced latency, less lag, and potentially improved bandwidth. GEO satellites are further out and stay over the same spot, good for broad coverage. MEO is somewhere in between. Different orbits offer different trade-offs.
Okay, got it. So it sounds like the technology is constantly evolving to try and overcome current limitations and meet those growing expectations of travelers. The report even touches on some of the key players in this competitive market, doesn't it? Who's involved?
It does. The onboard connectivity market is quite competitive, with a mix of established global players and emerging regional specialists. The report notes that providers are continuously upgrading their service offerings. It mentions examples like SES's Open Orbits in-flight connectivity network, which basically integrates multiple satellite networks, GEO and MEO, to provide more consistent coverage.
Ah, combining different types.
Exactly. And it also mentions Huawei's 5G indoor positioning solution, which has applications in various transportation hubs like airports or train stations for improving passenger flow and operational efficiency, even if not directly on the vehicle itself.
It's really interesting to see how different companies are innovating in this space to deliver better and more reliable connectivity experiences while we're on the move.
What's fascinating here is this continuous cycle of innovation. As technology advances, it enables new possibilities for onboard connectivity, which in turn raises passenger expectations, further driving the need for, well, more innovation. It feeds itself.
So to bring it all together, it really seems like the onboard connectivity market is experiencing just substantial global growth. This isn't just a niche anymore. It's becoming a fundamental expectation for people across all forms of transportation.
That's the core takeaway, definitely. Fueled by increasing passenger demands and ongoing technological progress, this market is seeing significant expansion worldwide with, interesting variations across different regions and exciting opportunities within aviation, railway, maritime, and other transport sectors.
This has been a truly insightful exploration into the world of onboard connectivity. It's remarkable to see how rapidly this market is developing and the profound impact it's having on how we travel. On that note, here's a final thought for you to consider. Given this rapid growth and the increasing integration of connectivity into our travel experiences, how might onboard connectivity fundamentally reshape not just how we travel, but also why and where we might choose to go in the future? What entirely new possibilities might emerge as seamless internet access becomes just a standard, expected feature of every journey? It's definitely something worth pondering. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.